Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today to our quick introduction of the new partnership between Archlet and Per Angusta. My name is Fabian, and I'm looking after marketing and procurement here at Archlet, and I have with me today Pierre, the CEO of Per Angusta.
Hi, everyone. I'm Pierre Lapré. I'm the founder and the CEO of Per Angusta. And prior to that, I was a procurement director.
Well, that's always good when you have in procurement and you're doing procurement software. So I've been in procurement as well, so that's why I always enjoy talking to you, Pierre. The reason why we came together today is because we want to actually explain to people a little bit about our new partnership that we just announced today and how that actually creates value for our joint customers. And what I wanted to start out with is just a little bit of the mission that we actually share quite a bit. We always say that we want to empower procurement to make better decisions faster, and better meaning more holistic and including more information, and faster. The reason why I think that's such a powerful statement is that the reality today for procurement most of the time is actually not so fast and not so efficient. And I think when people think about what it is that they do day in, day out, then it's usually, no matter where in these different processes they are, they deal with these tools. And I think being or representing two best of breed technology providers, it paints us very, very much that this is the reality and that this is what we're actually competing with. And so we basically wanted to put together something that actually helps people move out of this. And when we think about the process of sourcing, especially, and how we get to a sourcing event, then usually we start with ideating. Around Q3, end of Q3, beginning of Q4, people are asked, hey, put together the list of projects for next year and what kind of savings you can generate. And then we all start to create these massive Excel files that then need to get tracked over time. And then every single time somebody starts a project, again, we usually find that people send out Excel files with Outlook or with their sourcing provider. And when they come back, then they go back to Excel and analyze it, and so on and so forth. And the story continues no matter where we are. And we just believe that that is what takes up 90% of the time of strategic sourcing managers. And if I remember my time, one of the things that everybody around me was always saying was, if only I had more time. So how can we help that? And I think that's where now our partnership is really something that can help, and why we believe we wanted to work together for our customers. So Pierre, can you tell us a little bit about what Per Angusta does and what you bring into this relationship?
Right. So as we discussed, unfortunately, procurement is still stuck in a lot of Excel files or Word documents or PowerPoint presentations. And there has to be a better way, because not only it is not efficient nor effective, but it's also risky. It's risky because you might have errors in your spreadsheet or other kind of issue. There's no ownership or accountability on the data. So for some things such as managing the team, defining the sourcing roadmap, the sourcing pipeline, and measuring the contribution, you need a better way. And that's exactly where we've started at Per Angusta. So our core offering relies on three key pillars. The first one is the pipeline. Basically, it's what is my plan? What is my roadmap? What are my objectives? And how do I ensure that everybody can share that? The team, of course, because they'll have to execute on that, but also my stakeholders, finance. How do we align vision on what procurement contribution should be and where it is? There is an aspect once the projects are completed around tracking the savings and the contribution. And we're now getting much further than just financial contribution. The key point here is transparency, auditability, and governance. How many times have you said, hey, Mrs. CFO, we've saved 50 million euros, and she looks at you and says, don't see them in my P&L. It happens to all of us, and we're fixing that. We're not fixing the act of counting savings. We fix the act of giving transparency, making sure that we're talking about the same thing. And you'd be surprised how easy it becomes when you share a common vision with finance, and when you once you put a bit of governance around that. So that's the core of the offering. And the pipeline is the plan. The savings module tracks the reality. And around that, we have what we call the suppliers hub, because obviously the suppliers are central to everything you do. You have the incumbent supplier, the suppliers that you're inviting to tender, and the ones that you award to. So the supplier is everywhere, including in the sourcing decision. So that's in a nutshell what we do. And beyond the suppliers hub, we also have what we call the activities hub, and that's that's exactly what we're doing with Archlet today. Is how do we make this best of breed world a reality by connecting discrete systems into a seamless experience for the buyers.
It's quite interesting because I mean, like it painfully resonates with me when I think of the countless of times where somebody then asks me, so yeah, okay, track your project here in this pipeline and this Excel, and then put the savings information into the next one that was obviously not connected, and I had to re-enter it. I guess I don't really have to talk about the sourcing aspect of it. So it's almost a bit stupid that it took us so long to now really get together here with that. But I want to build on the point regarding the information. You said that you hold the supplier information, and what Archlet really stands for, because we do the sourcing and analytics and scenario optimization. That's the key piece that we provide. And we always talk about holistic decisions and how we want to empower people to look at more than just one aspect, and that being price. We believe that people need to think about sustainability. They need to talk about supply diversity. They need to talk about risk management, but they also have obviously the classical SIM kind of topics like performance or quality. And we want to make sure that all of those information can be used by people, and because they are held in your platform, they obviously can be made actionable through Archlet. And so I think that's where again, it's this extra piece beside just tracking and tracing that we can bring to the table together. So in a perfect world, I think that's what the world should look like. Instead of everything in Excel, start your journey with Per Angusta and end it there as well. And in between, just come to us and optimize your sourcing events. So can you talk us through a little bit how exactly somebody would have to imagine this to work out? How does their process look like, and how do the tools build on each other?
Yeah, right. So what we found is that in the more mature or more forward-thinking companies, the goal of procurement, and especially in strategic sourcing, is to plan. It's not only to react to the business, but it's to anticipate. So that's where the notion of a pipeline is really critical. There are many ways you can identify opportunities: through expiring contracts, through pooling of demand, through proactive optimization. And that's the key. It's making that long list of projects that you anticipate for the next 12 months, while also retaining the ability to react to specific requests from the business. So the way it works in Per Angusta is through the creation of a project in the pipeline. And again, the notion of the pipeline is, how do I get a holistic view of everything my buyers are working on? So once you create the project, there are some things that will require advanced sourcing optimization or an online event. And so the way we've developed the activities hub is through the connection with Archlet, where we can somehow punch out, if you want to take old P2P terms, we can punch out to Archlet by pushing all the data that we have and that is relevant for Archlet. This way, we establish a link that will enable the buyer to go back and forth through the two solutions. The buyer doesn't have to enter the same data twice in Per Angusta and in Archlet. And the buyer will start working in Archlet as if they started here, basically. So it's a completely seamless experience. And when it comes to exchanging supplier information, we may hold data from EcoVadis, DNB, other data provider that may be missing from Archlet. And so we have this bi-directional exchange of information so that those elements can be embedded into the decision matrix or the decision scenario. So that's a key element that, as you say, how do we make better decisions? That's by considering all factors, not just the cost. Again, the buyer will pursue the process in Archlet until the moment where you actually award the deal to a given supplier. And that's where it's interesting, because if you only have the e-sourcing bit, well, that's the end of it, and you go back to your Excel spreadsheet and type in number again. So the beauty here is that Archlet will send back to Per Angusta, say, hey, you remember that project you had where we created a project? Well, here's the result. And so we'll get back awarded supplier, awarded spend, and we can basically do 90% or 95% of the procurement reporting process without having to enter any kind of data. So that's really powerful, because again, I guess that's the vision of the best of breed. It's, I do something in the best tool for a given task, and when I need to do something else, I go to the best tool for that other task. But the beauty is when you can connect them and data flows completely naturally and seamlessly. That's beauty. So that's something quite amazing that we've developed here together.
And I think especially like a lot of times people then say, well, but I want to have the exact same user interface because I don't want to confuse people. And I'm always thinking, well, on your phone, you have 50 apps, of which you probably use 10. And they are specialized on doing what they are best for, right? You read your newspaper in the newspaper app and do banking in the banking app, and they don't look the same, and people are perfectly fine with that. And I think that's really, like, in this best of breed world, something that it's quite important to keep in mind, that I go to the best place to do the best thing in there, and nothing else. But yeah, this is, like, I find, like, what I really like about your solution is this SRM module, because I think it's so cool that you have, like, these, I don't know, 10 or 15 like integration partners and data points, like with cyber risk and financial risk and EcoVadis for sustainability and so on and so forth. And you can get it in one place. And we just, again, not punch out, but we just can, like, ingest that information when creating a sourcing scenario and say, well, what's the lowest cost scenario and compared to the most sustainable scenario? So I think that's where it really connects the dots, and where it really becomes a cool experience for the user, and the data all of a sudden becomes very, very actionable for them. So yeah, I think thanks Per. I don't want to go over this list now of all of the benefits. I think people can read for themselves, but we are very much excited about this partnership, and very much look forward to bringing this to our customers. Do you have any final thoughts that you wanted to share?
The world has changed, especially in procurement tech. The world is open, so yeah, let the data flow and let the buyers be happy with the best tool for their job. And always remember that you will never find a sales organization without Salesforce. So why should procurement be stuck with Excel to manage the activities, the team, and the performance?
Very well said. Thank you very much. So if you have any questions to Pierre or myself about our relationship, about Per Angusta, about Archlet, just reach out to us. Here are our email addresses, so just feel free. You also find us on LinkedIn, or I don't think we're hard to find actually. So therefore, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. And thank you very much for joining us today and listening in. All right.
Thanks for having me, Fabian.
Yeah. Thank you.